Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now we're looking at World War III, and all of the Bible prophecies are starting to come to pass concerning this war. And this war is prophesied to be the third war, as you got Revelation. Let's see, we can go into Revelation and pull out how it was going to be three woes, three periods of destruction. Now, Albert Pike, one of the top Freemasons, who wrote the book Dogma, something Dogmas, uh, something in Dogmas. Albert Pike, he was the leader of the Freemasons. He had a statue in or a monument in Washington D.C. He was the only Mason to have a monument in Washington D.C. And he wrote in his book how they was planning on having these three wars. But this third war is prophesied or was showed to the prophets of the nation of Israel, and they wrote it down in the book. And so let me go to the scriptures. Okay, first let me get that in Second Ezra 15:1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in your mouth, says the Lord." So the Lord put those prophecies and those visions in those Israelites' uh, mouth. And then look what he told them to do, verse 2, and caused them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. So he's saying the thing that he wrote or thing that he put in their mouth, they was also going to be written in paper, and they was going to come to pass. And here go one of the main things. In verse 5, it say, "Behold, says the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world." The sword, see, nuclear weapons, see, any kind of major weapon that you can think of that's going to be used in war. Famine, death, and destruction, because those weapons is going to bring destruction. Now, when you go into, let's see here, Revelation, Apostle John, one of Yahweh Shah's uh, best friend, or he was always in the bosom of Yahweh Shah. It says, let's see which one. Let's go with 9. Okay, here in 9, look at verse 12. It say, "One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter." So you was gonna have one time where the nations was gonna fight each other. Then you was gonna have a second time, and then you was gonna have a third time that the nations was gonna be fighting each other in these wars. That's another one. But that one said it all. But here go the other one here in Revelations 11. It say the second woe is past. See, World War II. And behold, the third woe coming quickly. So this is where we at in Bible prophecies. The third world war. And it's coming quickly to fulfill Bible prophecy, to make prophecy faithful and true. Okay, and so you have Putin. He is talked about here in Ezekiel 38. And let me get one and three. It says, "Son of man," well, two. "Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him." Now this is talking about Putin because he is gonna be fighting against America, Babylon the Great, and he's gonna be the main one to rally the troops. It started at verse 5. He named some of the allies that he gonna have: Persia, Ethiopia, Libya. Then in verse 7, it tell you what he's gonna be to these nations. It say, "Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, you and all your company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them." So this is why you have articles with Putin saying he's gonna arm all of his allies. He's gonna give them nuclear weapons and arm them like America is arming Ukraine and sending money to Ukraine and weapons. This is what Putin is gonna do to his allies. And you see it say, "A company that are assembled unto thee." And that takes me to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 51, I think in verse 9. No, it's 50, verse 9. And it say, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country." See, this is Putin and his allies that's going to come up against Babylon the Great, America. It says, "And they shall set themselves in array against her, from thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain." Now these arrows is going to be those nuclear missiles. Now in Revelation, Apostle John, he wrote on what was going to happen with these great nations. But he did it in a parabolic statement, which before I read that, let me back that up. Because this is how the prophets was prophesied to speak. Hosea 12 and 10, it says, "I have also spoken by the prophets." The apostle John was a prophet. "And I have multiplied visions." He showed them the vision of World War III. "And used similitudes." See, he's using similitudes in Revelation. This is how he's talking. "By the ministry of the prophet." So when you go to Revelation 17 and 16, it says, "And the 10 horns." See, he's using this as a similitude. "The 10 horns thou sawest upon the beast." Now the 10 horns is being described as a similitude, but he breaks it down in verse 12. He say, "And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings." So there's 10 nations or 10 kings or countries that's going to be assembled. You see, this is the assembly. It says, verse 16, "And the 10 horns or the 10 kings which thou saw upon the beast," which Babylon the Great is going to be the head of it. And so, but all of these 10 horns is pretty much was the assembly of nations that was ruling the earth. That's why it would say the beast, like Revelation 19 and 19, it say the kings of the earth and the beast, because all of them was working together. It says, "The 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Now the whore, verse 18, it says, "And the woman, which is the whore, which thou sawest is the great city. See, that's Babylon the Great America. This great city that nobody can compare to, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So you had the governments and the kings of the earth that was reigning over the people. They had a leader, and their leader was this great city, America, which you have the American dollar, which is the almighty dollar. It's a global currency that all nations use in trade and in business, and they use this dollar. They're all nations. And so this is how he reigned, and he got the strongest military with over 3,000, according to them, military bases scattered all over the globe. Now, when you go into um, verse 16 again, it says, "These shall hate the whore." So you're gonna have the other nations hating the great city. See this whore, which they call the woman. It says, "She shall." I mean, these shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh. So they gonna pretty much come against her. That's what they're doing with the bricks. First, they're making her naked and eating her flesh because they um coming against this almighty dollar, and they coming up with their own currency, the yen and the euro. Russia got their own money, and they got allies with this money. Okay, and so then the grand finale that he's gonna assemble them together to do is to shoot those arrows. That's why I say and burn her with fire. Once they shoot these arrows that is talking about in Jeremiah, but let's get second Ezra. It talks about these arrows at the end of the vision. And look at what it says in verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon. Babylon is this great city, you see, and Babylon um is gonna be destroyed. That's why he say woe. Woe means destruction. That's another part of World War III. It's gonna start off with the destruction of America. Now it talks about these arrows in verse let's see here. I'm gonna get straight to the point. Um verse 13 and say, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shoot are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." And see, this is going to be the beginning of the end of the world for these kings and the beasts, because well, mainly the whore, first of all, Babylon the Great America. These missiles or these arrows is going to be shot from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth, and it's going to burn her utterly. Let's go back to Revelation, because he described how this great city was going to get burned. Um, let's see, verse 8 or 9. There it is. In verse 8, it says, "Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, famine, and she shall utterly be burnt with fire." You see, that great city is going to be utterly burnt with fire. Look at what it says in verse 18. It says, "And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning." So all of the business people that's using this American dollar and that's profiting with her, they going to be saying, "Look at this place burning." See, saying, "What city is like unto this great city?" What city was like America that had the almighty global dollar, you see, that nobody could compete with, and everybody was using to get rich, and they was sending ships over to this great city. Look at verse 17. "For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every ship master." See, all of them ships is coming to America to drop off their products. And so this is how this war is going to pop off. And World War III And it's talked about in detail. Isaiah 34. Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah saw a vision of this Babylon the Great being destroyed. And to get right to the point, verse 5 and 6, he said, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven." That sword is a weapon. His sword, his weapon, is going to be in heaven, or his weapons is going to be in heaven. It shall come down. So this is not a weapon that's just going to blow up in the sky. It's going to come down. They're going to be up in the sky, then they're going to come down. What weapon is like that? Something like an arrow. You shoot the arrow up in the sky and it come down. But this is not going to be a regular arrow. This is going to be something that can't miss. See, you can't miss with this weapon. It says, "It shall come down upon Idumea." Idumea is the rulers of this great city and of all of the nations, because it said the great city reigned over the kings of the earth. So Idumea is going to be the nation of peoples that's controlling this great city. See, the Idumeans, they really were known as Edomites. It said, "Upon the people of my curse to judgment," Malachi 1 and 4. See, it said they will be the border of wickedness, the people who God have indignation for forever. Now look at what he said in verse 6. He said, "And the sword of the Lord is filled with blood." So this nuclear weapon is going to destroy many people. "It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, and with the fat of kidneys of ram. For the Lord have a sacrifice in Bozrah." Bozrah is the capital city of the Edomites, which America is the ruling capital city of the Edomites in the present day. So it's giving you a similitude, which Hosea 12 and 10 said. He used similitudes. See, the Edomites ruling, they had a capital city. America is how they ruling. This is the throne of iniquity. It says, "For the Lord have a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea." Okay, so now it's going to be a great slaughter when those nuclear weapons come to America from Russia and its allies. See, he gonna assemble great nations together. China is a great nation. North Korea is a great nation. Iran and these Saudi Arabia and all of these people are great nations. Even the NATO and the EU, them are great nations. See, all of these people is gonna join Russia and attack America and start this World War III. Let's go to 63 real quick and get that Idumea. Get Edom and Bozrah. It said, "Who is this that come from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah?" So he's showing how the Edomites is being talked about in 34, because you got Bozrah and Edom in the same breath. Okay. Now when you go into those missiles, it's also prophesied by Isaiah in 56. This is what all these people be with 54. All these people be quoting here in Babylon the Great, who go to these harlot houses and just randomly dealing with the people in Babylon. They will spew this stuff out of their mouth and don't know what they're talking about. It says, "Behold," verse 16, "I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire." So he's saying, I created it. This person that makes weapons. That's what a blacksmith do. He make a sword. It says, "And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy." So now this waster is a nuclear weapon. And he's going to tell you in the next verse, no weapon. See, this is what is being talked about in verse 16. No weapon. So I've created the person that make the weapon, and I created the weapon. You see, but it's meant for a specific people. See, it says, "That is formed against thee shall no weapon that's formed against thee shall not prosper." So it's not meant for the heritage of the Lord, the portion of the Lord, which is the elect of Israel. See, it's not meant for them. But let's go into Um, let's go into what was it? Oh man, it talks about um, it talks about this weapon somewhere else. Um, I wanted to get. I'm thinking Revelation. Oh, here it is. In Numbers. I think Numbers. No, Judges. Salaki. Judges 5:11. It says, "They are delivered from the noise. They that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water." So these archers are people that shoot arrows. So here go another similitude. And the people gonna be delivered, the elect. That's why he say no weapon shall prosper against you, because the elect gonna be delivered from these archers, from these nuclear weapons that's coming to America. See, they not gonna be destroyed by these weapons. Okay, and let's get that in Revelation 11 and 11, it said, "And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them that saw them." So that's the elect that's going to be delivered. Verse 12, it said, "And they heard a great voice from heaven saying to them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud." So they was rescued. They was ascended up. They was beamed up, like you say, beam me up, Scotty, or beam me up, Blackie. This is where the elect is going. And the enemy is going to be looking at them when they go. The enemies beheld them. Then verse 3 going to show you the results of what they was being rescued from. It said, "In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell." So this great earthquake was caused by a nuclear weapon, and it destroyed this city. See, and what was this city? Verse 8 let you know it was a great city that was in Revelation 18. "And their dead bodies shall line the street of the great city, which spiritually is Sodom and Egypt, where also the Lord was crucified." And so you see America, Babylon the great city, is the one pushing sodomy or being a sodomite. This is what they push. See, and they do all kind of witchcraft that Egypt did. They have the pyramid on the dollar. In Washington D.C., they got all these Egyptian statues and stuff, worshiping the penis and the vagina. And then you got in New York City the Statue of Liberty that was coming from Egypt. The man who made that was modeling that off of Egypt. See, they worship Egypt and they worship Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why now they got men on they acting like a stripper with a crucifixion. The man is see, and they say the Lord where the Lord was crucified, because they do all kind of wickedness against the Bible and against Yahweh. They got an Edomite on a crucifix with another Edomite, two men, and he's supposed to be giving Yahweh a lap dance. See, upside down lap dance while he on the so-called cross being crucified. You got a sodomite giving him a lap dance. This is the stuff that goes on in this great city, America, which is that's why these nuclear missiles is gonna come and burn these people. Now let me see if I can squeeze in this before they try to turn my video off. 14 and 12, it tells you how vividly they will be burnt. It says, "And this shall be the plague." See, that was that plague that he was going to bring, and tell the prophets to write this stuff in paper. And this is the plague where the Lord will smite all the people that fought against Jerusalem. See, they was fighting against the Israelites, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the descendants of slaves, fighting against them in every way. It say, "Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet." What's going to do that? A nuclear weapon. "Their eyes shall consume away in their hold, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." See, this is what the nuclear weapons is going to do to these people in Babylon the Great. because this is where the majority of the Israelites is concentrated. Plus, um, this is the Bible prophecy against this great city. And Putin is going to be the one to rally the troops. See, he's assembling the great nations. He's coming against the dollar. He's making nuclear weapons and giving them to his allies. He's proclaiming that he's going to destroy America. See, this is not just a philosophy. See, he is coming out of his own mouth and proclaiming it, and it's being splattered all over the news. So it's not a secret. It's not under a rock. See, and so this is what's going to be going down in World War III. You're going to have nuclear weapons flying to America, and then the Israelites is going to take over. Let me just get one scripture to show that. Once those missiles hit and the elect going to get beamed up, this is what's going to happen when they get beamed up. Verse 8, it says, in that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. He's going to beam them up. He said, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. That's what Paul was saying. We're going to put off the mortal body and become immortal, where we cannot die. We're going to be like the angel of the Lord, and we're going to be like God. That's why they quoting that John 3:16, that you will have everlasting life. See, because the elect is going to never die. That's the blessing that these Edomites is crying over. But that's pretty much what World War III is going to be all about. Look at verse 9. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. That's going to be the climax of the war, and they're going to be thrown into submission. What's that? Revelation chapter 2, verse 27. We're going to rule with a rod of iron. All the nations is going to be ruled with a rod of iron, and we're going to break them into pieces. So this is what the prophecies is about, and they're right on the verge of coming to pass when World War III pop off. And I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shah, Hashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.